What's cracking, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 on Saturday, May 7th of the Good Kraken podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ernell Pearson, alongside the inevitable one, Devin Stanford.
Hey, how you all doing?
Oh, it's lit. And our newest, wonderfulest guest, Sarah Dope. How are you?
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, yes.
I'm great.
Yeah.
Feeling
Awesome.
good.
Great days.
Got my
Batman.
tea, my non boozy tea.
Yeah. What's your cup say? I didn't.
Bah humbug.
Nice.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. So you were just telling us earlier how you had just gotten your second vaccination shot yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yesterday morning, feeling all right, all things considered. Just a little tired, little sore arm,
Sure.
small fever this morning, but the tea is for.
Oh, that the tea's helping with the fever. Good. Well, we're glad that you're still kicking ass, dude. Like, what's been new? Like, what have you been up to this week besides getting your anti pandemic juice?
Work. Always working.
Yeah.
But this month has been pretty cool because, it is AAPI Heritage Month. And so I've been working on a lot of different things for Astro for that. So it's kind of like a personal project too, personal and professional.
That's awesome.
Yes, and I'm sure we will be diving into that a little bit later when we get a chance to ask you some stuff about what you're doing as far as your work over there and the stuff that you're working on for the collective this month and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of really awesome stuff that you've been doing lately. For you, I want to kind of start off with asking a quick question before we kind of go into the nerdy stuff and then go into hanging out with you a little bit more interpersonally here. Your history, your accolades are bonkers. You have been in and out of all the spaces for all these years. Can you let the listeners at home know how you're surviving?
I'm still here. I'm still standing.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a very wild ride in my life, in all kinds of ways. Now that I've gotten my second vaccine shot, and we talked about this a little bit before, I'm going to wait until I'm officially fully vaxxed, and then I'm going to start looking into actually spending my PTO. Going on a real vacation, not a working vacation, just at least for a week, maybe two, and just recollect myself and unwind and eat a bunch of food and just relax for once.
Just play Animal Crossing in your brain. It's just in.
Well, yeah, listen, I'll probably still bring my Switch, but.
There we go. Okay, cool. Well, now, so Devin is about to get his vaccination later on today. How are you feeling about that, dude?
I'm excited. I'm just ready to be vaxxed. I'm just ready. I just want music to come back in normal life.
Yeah.
That's facts, dude.
Yeah.
God, man.
I also do a lot of photography, primarily concert photography. So when everything shut down, I went through a whole, I guess, imposter syndrome phase. And I feel like a lot of my friends who also do concert photography were like, "Oh my God, what do we do now? Concerts are just gone."
Yeah. Well, me and Devin both are musicians here in the local area, and so having had a situation where his band was releasing stuff, mine was about to release stuff, and everything shut down, and so all of our plans just went haywire. And so so me and Devin were like, "Hey, let's start a podcast."
I will say the silver lining of it is that we did get to see a lot of really cool creative live streams, right? So especially with music, it's there were so many musicians for years. I'd be like, "Hey, I really think you should look into getting a Twitch channel, if not on the road, just something extra to do off the road." And it doesn't, and I would have to try to explain, I'm it's no longer just video games. There's different things that you can do that still tie in with music and the music lifestyle. And everyone, yeah, we'll get to it. And never did. And then all of a sudden, everything started getting shut down and my phone was blowing up. And everyone's like, "So remember when you were trying to talk to us about Twitch?" I'm like, Yes.
Yeah, you're damn right I do. Yeah.
So
Here's my
really cool,
consulting fee.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
A lot of friends owe me a lot of favors. But it was really cool to see, like, more musicians really get on the platform. And again, it wasn't just gaming, like, but also, a lot of musicians that I think a lot of people didn't realize may have really been into gaming. They get to see that side.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
It's been cool.
It's a cool thing. I mean, the pandemic has brought us a lot of stress, but brought us a lot of opportunity too, and I'm definitely happy about it. But today we're not actually talking about the pandemic today, guys, because today we're talking about E3 clawing its way back, Square Enix leaving us all thirsty, and how to fight AAPI hate in the gaming space, and much more, because this is the Good Kraken podcast, a show for nerdy, marginalized people bringing you the video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 1 p.m. If you're watching live, you can submit questions and topics at tinyurl.com/gksubmissions to be a part of the show. If you're having a good time so far, you can watch us record the show live and ad-free by following and subscribing right here at twitch.tv/goodkrakenshow. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime. We would love for you to give that to us to help us keep pushing content for all of you listening at home. If you've emptied your pockets for the latest and greatest in entertainment, though, that is totally fine. You can catch our episodes on your podcast service of choice at 8 a.m. the next day, but you can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, by clicking the link in the About section of our Twitch page and clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there. Little housekeeping here, just real quick before we get into the nitty gritty. Our gameplay of Resident Evil Village and the new arena mode on Apex Legends are both available as VODs now on our Twitch channel. Go and click that after you're done with this show here. If you're driving, pull over your car, watch it, play it, all that good stuff. Just listen to it while you're driving, or just wait. Just take a break at work. Take your lunch break right now. Just watch that. It's priorities. You know what I mean? Priorities. This upcoming Tuesday, May 11th, we will be doing a review episode of Resident Evil Village. I just streamed that last night. I hated myself every single bit of it. We're streaming Apex Legends on Thursday for the rest of the month, and we want to play with you. Please join our Discord by clicking the link down in our About section, and we'll get you into rotation during our streams every Thursday for the rest of this month. Guys, let's go ahead and move into the news segment here. So the first story that we have, and I'm sure all of us have been following E3 news pretty damn closely for a while now. Sarah, are you like hyped about E3 this year? Like, where are you with it?
I am interested on seeing exactly how they're going to run it this year, right? Because it's not in person.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I'm always excited for E3. I think the part that I'm bummed about is that it's not in person. Obviously, I understand why it's not in person, but it was, previously it was like my one big reunion of the year. And granted, like I would get to see friends at PAX, I would get to see friends at, South by Southwest. But with E3, it's like, especially being like living in LA for 10 years, it was like my chance to like go back to LA and see all of my friends, and then also like work a little bit. And my company has been really great in the past about like letting me be like, hey, if I can, find couches to crash on for like another week or two, can you actually change my flight back home? And they had no issues with it as long as I was getting my work done. And so it was really a good chance for me to like reunite with all of my LA friends for a while and eat all of my favorite, foods in LA. Mm-hmm. And then also see all of my gaming industry friends who, of course, would be at E3 because it's one of the larger shows of the year. So that's the only part that I'm like a little bummed about. But again, obviously understand why we can't do it in person this year.
Of course. And there's a lot to be excited about, especially after this new announcement, because E3 2021 confirms Square Enix, Gearbox, Sega, and more. This comes from Liana Ruppert from Game Informer. It reads like this: E3 2021 has confirmed even more companies that will be attending this year's digital showcase, including names like Square Enix, Sega, and more. The virtual event is set to take place next month, offering new looks, fresh reveals, and a celebration of the gaming community. Even though E3 2021 will be digital this year due to lingering COVID-19 concerns, that doesn't mean that there won't be a few surprises to be had. ESA has confirmed even more companies that are joining the E3 lineup this year, including the following companies: Square Enix, Bandai Namco, Gearbox, Verizon, Freedom Games, Devious Eye, Turtle Beach, Verizon on their own, Binge, and Xseed Games. Already confirmed companies including Nintendo, Xbox, Take-Two Entertainment, Ubisoft, Capcom, and Warner Brothers Games, Sony, and Electronic Arts are once more sitting E3 out, opting into their own showcases instead. Konami has also confirmed it won't be in attendance despite having several notable projects in the works. Devin, I know this moves a needle for you, dude. I know it does.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Anything Square does. You already know. I've talked about it so much. I'm excited to see what else they have to put on the table. I'm super stoked about Final Fantasy 16. I know console-wise it's going to be exclusive to PS5, but there is that rumor floating around that it's also going to be available on PC as well. So I'd like to get some confirmation on that. And I'm interested to see what Gearbox has coming up too.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Which one of these are doing it for you, Sarah, as far as these newer announcements?
I'm definitely kind of in the same boat. Square and Gearbox would definitely be my top two.
Okay.
I finally got a PS5.
Oh God! Look,
a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations!
It was a struggle.
Yeah.
I finally got one.
You didn't.
So now I can be excited about PS5 exclusives again.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, and not salty.
I'm working on it. I get you. What do you want to see at E3 this year? Like what is your big get hype moment for Sarah? Like the one announcement you'll see that's gonna be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Man, specific titles, I'm not sure. And I may get a lot of flack for this, but as much as I am a fan of Final Fantasy, but I'm not a fanatic like a lot of my friends are.
Fair.
Right? So I do have a lot of friends who are like, oh my God, Final Fantasy. I'm like, yeah, it'll be cool. Yeah, I don't know what I want to see, like specific title wise. I just, I just love video games, especially I am a visual artist, right? And so I appreciate anything that is visual, whether it's 8-bit, whether it's realistic.
Yeah.
I just want to see some cool shit and add to my backlog that I still haven't completely gone through.
Oh, I can relate to that so hard. I probably have like 80 games I still need to finish.
Dude. Yeah, all of us.
It's bad.
When you're working people, when you're adults, you don't always have time to play all the games that you wish you could,
Yeah, well, and I feel like, the new Resident Evil, I've been really wanting to play, but I also feel like that's something I'm like, and I feel like a lot of my friends would want to see me stream it, but I also haven't really had time to stream again lately.
Yeah.
And so I'm like itching where I'm like, I just play it off stream and just deal with people giving me shit about it? Or do I just try to find time to stream again and do it in little increments? Because I really want to play it. It looks so good.
It's fun. I got through the first couple of hours last night, and I'm gonna be probably playing a little bit more after a shoot today. It's good. I really think you'll like it. It's kind of a really good like cross between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7, which feels just a little bit more combat heavy. So it's like it doesn't feel like you're constantly like having to take a breath every 10 seconds. At least not yet. At least not as far as I've gone. I could be wrong, just talking out of my ass.
I love horror, so I'm ready.
Yep. Let's do it. Devin, what do you want to see at E3?
Oh, I'm going to say the big one. It's Starfield. I want to see Starfield. I want to see what's next from Todd Howard and Bethesda Softworks. I want to see how, like, what they're going to be doing different than what Obsidian did with Outer Worlds. Since, I just love sci-fi and I love first-person RPGs like that. And I just want to dive in, take advantage of the new hardware that's come out,
Yeah.
Other than that, there's all the rumors floating around already about the new iteration of the PS5, and I have been saying I'm waiting for that before I get one because I want it to be smaller.
I don't think it'll happen this soon.
Rumored for 2022.
Yeah, but rumors though. You know what I mean? You can put your tinfoil hat all the time.
I'm actually going to be a little upset. I finally got a PS5.
Right, that's what I mean. Is like, just wait a little longer.
I need a new one.
The way I look at it is there's already such a huge chips shortage. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just waiting for that next shipment to iterate on that console, because they've done that so much with their previous consoles. They've made so many different iterations. Like the PS3 had 2 different slim models, and so did the PS2.
Yeah, but did they come in like a year after their release though?
Doesn't mean it couldn't be a little different, because I mean the general consensus, although the console is great, everybody wishes it's smaller. That's what I've heard from pretty much every podcast or anything I've heard of.
It is kind of big.
Yeah, it's a briefcase that looks like a router.
Yeah.
Ivory tower over here.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Series X, so I just have like an Amazon package, as a gaming console.
So what you're saying is that you could maybe sell the idea that PlayStation has maybe already gotten all the chips, and that's why we're having a chip shortage. Is they're already doing the PS5 Slims?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I just really want to see a slim console from them.
Yeah.
For that iteration, because I want one, but I also want it to fit in my entertainment center.
That's fair. My hype moment is kind of tinfoil hatty too, because I kind of want to see that God of War Ragnarok announcement for winter 2021, so I can rub it in Devin's face.
I don't think it's coming this year.
Dude, what if though? What if? You know what I mean?
I think they'll show a trailer.
Or teaser.
I think they'll show like a trailer or a teaser, and they'll talk about it, but it probably won't be here till holiday next year. That's because it's only been a couple years.
Here's my wave here. All right, so just entertain this thought. Just hear me out, okay? So we have E3. They hit us with a trailer, and it's dope, right? Just Kratos in like a business suit, and he's just out there flexing all of us. And then at the end of the trailer, right, it hits us with the holiday 2021. Everyone's like, and you find out that it's just because the engine that they did the last God of War on was basically already in for the fucking PS5, and so all they had to do is just make more game. That was it. I don't know. I'm just putting on my tinfoil hat. I think that there's a possibility that Cory Barlog has just been hiding things in his big jacket of God of War pockets, and he's just waiting. He's waiting for his moment to just shadow drop.
I'm curious to see if anything gets announced for E3, but then is ready in time to release during PAX West.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than a holiday.
Yeah. That's a good observation, actually.
I will see this. Since we were talking about Sony is not going to be at E3. I just looked up to see when their next State of Play is, and they don't have anything announced yet.
Well, they just had a State of Play, didn't they?
Yeah, in April, but they don't have another one announced. Like back in summer of 2020, they had their State of Plays announced, like the next 3 in a row. So I'm kind of interested to see like what they're actually going to do, So because we need to see a presentation from them sometime this summer.
They're going to say it like the day before they do it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Or Beyonce drop it.
Shadow drop the shadow drops. Yeah, it'll be great, dude. I think I don't know. It's gonna be a fun E3. I'm pretty stoked about it. Even like there's a few names in there that like I wish would be a part of the presentation that are not. I'm still pretty confident that's gonna be a damn good weekend for releases and announcements and stuff. So it's gonna be pretty damn fun, dude. With that,
before we finish though, I will say this though. I'm really excited to see what all the new first-party Microsoft studios have coming out, because there's like nothing announced, and they have 23 studios now.
Yeah, there's a lot. They've been doing it for a while, man. Imagine the opportunity for all of that they could possibly give to us. But with that though, let's kind of move into a little more into the PlayStation stuff we were kind of talking about here. Devin, do you want to take this one on for me?
Oh, absolutely. So Final Fantasy VII Remake PlayStation exclusivity extended. And this comes from Joseph Lavoie at Game Rant. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been relatively well received by new and old players alike, with the one caveat being the PlayStation exclusivity. Man, I can't talk today. However, with the game making the jump to PS5 with improved graphics and performance, the console will also retain the exclusivity rights for Final Fantasy VII Remake for at least another 6 months. This is frustrating for fans of the game not operating in the PlayStation landscape, who have been patiently awaiting the FF7 exclusivity to run out. It was announced that the PC version would receive the integrated version that is being received on PS5. However, no date was ever determined. It appears there was a reason behind that delay, as Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on PS5 was renewed said exclusivity behind the scenes. Wow.
It's all right.
The announcement of exclusivity was put at the end of the final trailer for the PS5 release. After demonstrating some of the latest features coming to the game, such as the Fort Condor minigame and Yuffie's scenario, the release date was displayed along with exclusivity being marked at the end of the trailer. While the message stated it would be released on PS5 6 months earlier than the other system, it did not provide any extra information as to when or where it would release next. With an announced release date of June 10th, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade looks like it may add many features and additional content that players should be excited to experience. As for now, the game will remain on PlayStation landscape until at least December, when further decisions will be made. Owners of the PS4 version will be able to move directly into Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade if they own a PS5 at no extra cost. That's a nice little caveat right at the end, you know? Mm-hmm. Get that nice little upgrade. I know that's been like a big thing in the industry right now between which publishers and developers have been deciding to give that free upgrade for those games with, the enhanced graphics and stuff. So that's nice.
Well, I remember,
how do you feel?
I mean, I remember like the timing of like Call of Duty last year was kind of around the time of people trying to get the next gen consoles but couldn't, right? And so that was a big question. And I think they offered different bundles. I think there was a bundle that did include both versions, and then there was a bundle that like you would have to pay like $10 for an upgrade.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. So fortunately it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I think I do think a lot of companies like really need to take that into consideration, especially like right now. Who knows when you're going to be able to find a PlayStation 5 that's not resold for a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Are you gonna play it? I don't know if you got a chance to play the Final Fantasy VII Remake at all, but
I haven't played it yet. Okay. I probably will now that I do have a PS5. Finally,
okay, snazzy.
At last.
I know, right?
Lucky.
I know, lucky you, because I'm still only my PS4 Pro, so I'm like, I'm in, because I loved the remake, and I'm a little bummed out that I won't be able to play this new one just yet, at least for another 6 months, apparently.
Yeah,
just my damn luck. Devin, where do you sit on this as far as like talking directly on the extension on the exclusivity? Because a year ago they were talking about it potentially being on other platforms now, like a year after release, and now they're extending it a little bit longer. Where are you on that?
Well, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
But it makes sense. You know, they're releasing the title, so they got to extend that exclusivity. I mean, it is a Sony property, published property, right? Like, aren't they behind it with Square on that?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'm not surprised at all that Sony is doing that. Let's be real. They wanted to make Epic pay them a ton of money just for crossplay. So it's you know, Apple doesn't fall far from the tree on that one. But I really do want to play it. You know, even if it only comes to PC, I'm totally okay with that. I mean, as you know, I recently started Death Stranding on PC finally. So it's good to see them at least making that step of putting their games in other places, you know. As far as the extension, it just kind of sucks, but I get it. It's Sony.
Yeah, for sure. Sarah, now that you have
What?
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
I was just saying I still need to finish Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to beat it too. I got maybe like hours left, and then when I have it done, there was just so many other games that came out like soon afterwards that I needed to hop on, you know? So
exactly.
Now, Sarah, now that you have a PS5, what is your game that you're wanting like stat?
Now that I finally have it, I do want to dive into Miles Morales. Like I loved that last Spider-Man game. Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah,
it was really good.
But you know, work has been pretty busy lately, so it's like I've been doing my old faithful after work, hop on a few hours of Call of Duty with some friends, wind down, and then call it a day. But although I did start playing It Takes Two, but on PC.
Ooh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, me and Devin have been talking about playing that last few weeks.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's like really good.
Okay.
Devin, I don't know.
I know.
I don't want to like spoil anything, but it's really good.
No, it's okay. I get it. Devin, I'll be the wife if you want. I'm already kind of your wife as it is. So it's like,
what's up, baby?
What's up, baby? How you doing, baby? Let's move into our next news story here. We have A Quiet Place Part 2's final trailer reveals more deadly threats ahead for the Abbotts. This comes from Carly Lane from Collider. And I'm actually going to set this up here because I have a trailer that we can play as we kind of go through the story a little bit here. We have... Okay, reads like this. Paramount has released the final trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2, the upcoming sequel to the 2018 film that sees the Abbott family continuing their struggle for survival in a post-apocalyptic world where even the slightest noise could be the difference between life and death. Directed and written by John Krasinski, based on characters created by Brian Woods and Scott Beck, The Quiet Place sequel brings back returning cast members Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe, maybe? Cillian Murphy, Peaky Blinders and Batman Begins, and Jimon Hanso from Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel have joined the cast in new roles. Krasinski also makes his return for the first movie in a small role, with his character seen in flashback sequences set before the first film, and one of them shown in this very trailer. In an interview on Ellen, Krasinski spoke about returning to the world of A Quiet Place with an upcoming sequel, as well as writing his character leading into the film, saying it was one of those things where I wasn't really going to do a second one, but because the first one was such a personal experience, it was my love letter to my kids. Which looks insane now that you're watching that, but it was really important for me to continue the metaphor and actually start dealing with how this all started. A Quiet Place Part 2 will be released in theaters on May 28th before being available to stream on Paramount Plus 45 days after its theatrical debut. Check out the trailer below us, actually. So, Sarah, did you like A Quiet Place? Let's start there.
I did like it. I feel like if this happened in real life, I would not survive.
Retweet. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I'd be the first to die, but I don't think I would survive. I don't think I would make it.
Yeah. Have you ever walked barefoot before? It fucking sucks.
I mean,
not since I was a kid.
Yeah. I know. We have shoes now.
Yeah. It's like walking on Lego bricks the whole time.
The older I get, it's just I got fragile bones and I don't know if I can handle it anymore.
Nice soft skin on the bottom of my feet. I put lotion on.
Very sensitive.
I take care of my feet. It's nice. No, I definitely loved this damn movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was super exciting, super thrilling. It was a really fun story, and I'm kind of pretty excited to see what they do with it. Devin, what do you think about like new characters that continue to the story? Because I feel like a part of all of us kind of felt like we would have been happy with not even getting a sequel. Honestly, the first movie would have been fine standalone. Where do you sit on this?
I mean, I agree with you. That's actually what I've been thinking the whole time. But at the same time, it does actually look really good. I am still interested in the universe in a sense of what it is, because they never really explain how those creatures came up. Like, what if there is some big reveal maybe near the end of the movie or something that, you know, they find something they weren't supposed to, or show something. I'd be interested in seeing something like that, because I love seeing like lore behind like sci-fi horror like this, because I mean, those creatures are insane. Let's be real. Just the ultra supersonic hearing, the crazy strength and immunities they have. It's I would like to know more about it, but you know, that's because I love movies like Alien and, you know, stuff like that, and there's so much lore within those universes, so it'd be cool to see some of that.
Sarah, do you have a horror movie that you're waiting for a sequel for, that you want another one of?
Oh, I get weird about I feel like I get a little weird about sequels, I guess, because for the most part, not a lot of them are done well, right? At least of some of my favorite movies, right? So, for example, one of my all-time favorite movies is The Crow. First one was amazing. Everything about it, right? The movie itself, the cast, the music, like the soundtrack, the score. It was one of the most perfect movies in my life. Of
course, yes, absolutely.
And then the sequel, the direct sequel, was interesting to see where they were going to take it, right? And a little touch and go, but the music was still great. And then it just kind of went all downhill from there. And I get really salty anytime the topic gets brought up of, like, you know, they've been trying to remake Crow forever, right? And there was always rumors of like, there's talks about, you know, redoing The Crow, you know, the Eric Draven story, but with like Mark Wahlberg. And I was like, oh, for the love of God, no, don't do it. And then there were rumors about, you know, a couple of other people. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, unfortunately, it'll probably eventually happen with someone. And I'm already pretty skeptical about it without saying anything. And then, you know, my all-time favorite movie is The Lost Boys, and that got ruined with all the sequels.
Don't remind us. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, on that subject of The Crow, I could see Robert Pattinson doing it.
Maybe.
You mean? I mean,
have you seen the trailer for the Batman?
I mean, listen,
Crow vibes.
I would accept that over, you know, Marky Mark.
Yeah. Well, same. Anything other than Marky Mark for that.
I'm like, man, just use a different storyline in the Crow universe. Like, do we really have to redo Eric Draven? Because I feel like Brandon Lee was perfect.
They could, yeah. I mean, like that's they could literally take it any direction that they fucking want to. It's not like there's a massive, like, you know, like comic book run or something that like dictates that it has to be any specific way or the other. Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want with the Crow IP, and like, as long as they don't put Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, no Marky Mark, please. Spencer Confidential was not good. I'm
like a crow. You gotta let me fly.
And then, you know, there have been talks about, you know, they were gonna do a CW show for the Lost Boys. And the only reason I was like kind of okay with the idea and interested in seeing where it was going was because they got Rob Thomas, who also did iZombie. And I liked iZombie, so I was like, okay, maybe it can work. Maybe. I mean, still, again, it's one of those things I'm still going to be skeptical about because the sequels were not good.
I mean, these are both classics too. You know, like we watched these when we were kids and first coming into, you know, the horror movie realm and stuff. And so, like, I get your grievances with those sequels, because they did not live up to the original name as much as I wish they would have. There's been some bangers recently, though. I mean, like that new, was it Halloween, where they brought Jamie Lee Curtis back, or it was actually surprisingly good. Now, granted, that is what, I mean, you could technically call that a reboot, but kind of also sequel to, I don't know. It's weird, but they did a good job on it. Like sometimes they kill it, but it's just like for every one sequel they just knock out of the park, there's like 5 that fucking flop. And
I will say the new It was well done.
Yeah, it was.
So I still haven't seen chapter 2. And I just hope neither of you just don't send a hunter bird to me in my sleep or something because like I
James McAvoy.
Look, I know. Is it good? Is it good compared to the first one?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, is the space turtle in it?
Did you guys see the sorry, space turtle? Yeah, no, you just have to watch it, man. You just have to watch it.
All right. Because I'm a big fan of the books. That's why I ask about the turtle.
You just have to watch it.
Okay.
Did you guys watch Doctor Sleep?
No.
The sequel to The Shining?
Don't be mad at me.
It's
I need to.
Ewan McGregor.
No.
It's amazing. The movie is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a prequel or a sequel?
It's a sequel. Yeah. And if there's anything I've noticed lately is that a lot of these modern Stephen King movies are actually in a shared universe too.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of his books are doing that too. Like it's he hasn't technically admitted it, but it's like theorized that all of his books are kind of within the same stringent universe and involve different, people, obviously. But it's like, so for example, did you guys watch In the Tall Grass on Netflix?
I've been meaning to.
I haven't yet. It's in my queue. My queue, though.
It's good. It's really, really good. But it talks about kind of loosely about portals into other universes. And that's a consistent pattern with almost a majority of Stephen King's work. And so you kind of like see where he places little things like that in other movies and other books that he has and stuff like that too. And so, in a weird way, his universe is all kind of connected. Huh. Yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of good stuff. And now I want to see Pennywise in Pet Sematary.
I saw Pet Sematary. It was okay.
I heard it was terrible. I heard it was so bad.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay.
I don't know if I would say terrible. It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. It was not good, not bad.
It was everything I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Based on what you were saying earlier about Lost Boys and The Crow and stuff, there's only so much to expect.
Yeah, listen, it wasn't as bad as, say, The Crow 4.
I didn't even know they made a 4.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, that's why. That's why you didn't know that.
Yeah.
I see. I wish I had seen It Chapter 2 before I saw Crow 4. Unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not the case at all, dude.
So bad.
With that said, though, I'm excited for this movie. It's gonna be fun. An interesting thing here, though, is that it's coming out to theaters quite a bit before it ever comes out to digital platforms. So it's like with things like we've seen with the like Disney Plus like premiere stuff, and with like Warner Brothers like partnership with HBO Max and things. I'm a little surprised that they didn't work something out like this for Quiet Place 2 to come out day and date. Like, yeah. Like Sarah, where do you like, do you feel like that they should have, maybe? Do you feel like it makes a difference?
I feel like they should have had the option, right? Because I think when does this come out? This comes out end of month, right?
June 9th, I think is what it said. No, May 28th. Yes, holy shit. 20 days from now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of hesitation. I mean, obviously some people just don't care and they'll go.
Of course.
But I do think like there's going to be a lot of hesitation where it's like, well, not everybody has their vax yet. And so I feel like they should have had the option, kind of like what Warner Brothers did do.
Yeah.
But again, who knows? I mean, I think in Minnesota we're starting to open things back up a little more at the end of the month.
Okay.
Probably just wait it out a little bit longer.
Yeah. That's something I was gonna actually ask you, Devin. Did you plan on seeing this in theaters? Is it not quite?
I'm 50-50 on it because by that time, me and my partner will be vaxxed, but still 50-50 on it. I do know that theaters are open up here. And I do know like a lot of the seating arrangements, you have to reserve your seat and they keep everybody spaced out, like however many groups you are. And they they close every other aisle here as well. So I know that they're doing that.
That's something I should look into because I do really miss movie theaters.
Yeah, same.
I did see Godzilla versus Kong in theaters in a very isolated setting, just like that, though.
Yeah.
And that was at the Baghdad, Ernell, if you ever want to look into that.
Oh, it was the Baghdad? Mm-hmm. I thought it was in like the AMC out in Beaverton.
Yeah, I think they do it at both, but I did see it in like that. And you can also rent theaters out, so it's only whoever you want to be there as well. Is what they're doing here. Right. So
it might just be cheaper to just get like saran wrap and just bubble boy my way into a theater.
One of those like hamster wheel things.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like the hamster bubbles.
Yeah,
you see that movie Bubble Boy?
Yeah,
Bubble. Yeah, that's what I said. Just bubble boy my way in there. You know, like those dudes that take them to concerts for like for walking on top of the crowd, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just stand on the seat.
He just falls and rolls all the way to the screen.
Overweight body trying to stand up on chairs and just rolling around on people's heads. That'd be great, dude. I miss movie theaters so much, though. Same. I haven't been to a theater in probably the better part of like 2 years, if not maybe a little more.
Damn.
Now it's been since like I want to say like a month before Endgame. It's been a while.
You didn't see Endgame in theaters.
I didn't. Yeah, I did not. I know I'm a disappointing human being. I
did see Endgame in theater. I was like, what was the last movie I saw in the theater? What is fun?
But it's nice though, because like having the option of like, you know, like I have a daughter, so when a new family movie comes out on Disney Plus and you can just pay a little extra money and, you know, have like my sister, you know, share in and have her son come over and we watch it together as a family. Like having that option to like do things like that direct from home, like day and date, is so much more convenient. And this part was the most shocking part to me about all of this news of The Quiet Place 2, because I'm like, why didn't they do that? Why did do you think maybe it was just like a little too late? Like they just couldn't pull it off. Like they tried for a while and it just wasn't gonna happen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to say. I don't know anything about the film industry really, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder if it's I mean, I don't know too much about how like box office numbers count as far as like theater versus streaming, especially you know, in the past year. So I wonder if it had something to do with like they're really trying to push for like theater presence,
potentially,
or numbers' sake.
Yeah.
It could be a deal directly like with the theater companies themselves, you know, like AMC or Century or whatever. It could be some sort of deal like that where they want the exclusivity to try and, you know, actually have some revenue, you know, because I know there's been a lot of talk of these, you know, companies like fully shutting down and claiming bankruptcy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, granted, to be fair too, it's like the US specifically is kind of like, you know, like we have the vaccine situation obviously is a little bit different from the rest of the world. Like when we're talking about movies coming out, like, you know, we're talking about internationally too. So it's like there's other places in the world that are not as, you know, down in the fucking gutter when it comes to this pandemic situation. So, you know, I guess in a way that this definitely makes sense for us far as something like that is concerned too. But with that said, though, let's kind of move into our second segment here. This is our hands-on segment where we kind of talk about some stuff that we have been playing and or watching or experiencing and consuming. And we pick a couple of them that we want to talk about, that we recommend for our listeners at home to experience for themselves. So Sarah, you are our guest today. So what is one game and or movie or show that you've recently consumed that you want everyone else to check out?
Well, like I said, made some time for It Takes Two,
yes.
Which I think is, you know, it is a fantastic game, like visually, like they're, again, trying not to spoil anything. There are certain parts of it that kind of surprise me visually. Like, oh my, like I just feel like every time my friend and I play it, we're just consistently shocked. Like, oh my God, this part is so cool. And this is really pretty. And then just, you know, the gameplay it's just really fun to like work with each other. And the storyline is, again, try not to give away. Storyline is great.
For sure.
A couple moments that are just, you know, a little heartwarming. And that game, like like I'd heard about it. I didn't look too far into it because I didn't want it spoiled for me. So yeah, that is definitely a game that I highly recommend to everybody.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have you watched any movies recently? That
I haven't watched. I feel like I haven't watched anything new.
Okay.
You know, like I said, like work has been pretty busy, and you know, I have the bad habit of like throwing something on it, Netflix at night, but usually it's something that I've seen before. That it's just like if I fell asleep, I'm not going to get upset that like, oh man, I like didn't know what happened. I did have I had a friend recently recommend like we got on the subject of Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh no.
And that whole mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, he has recommended the 2 documentaries that are on. There's one on Hulu and one on I think Showtime. Mm-hmm. And he was like, honestly, he's like, you need to watch those because he's like, it goes over like just kind of like everything about like his life. And it's all interviewing people who used to be a part of his life who are no longer a part of his life. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he's not in them.
Right.
Like he was saying, he was saying like they're both good, but he was like the way that Showtime did theirs. He's like, honestly, he's like it's probably one of the best documentaries that I've seen. Like the way that they broke down everything and kind of tried to explain like different parts of his life and how he became like, you know, who he is now. Yeah. So I haven't watched them. I've started the Hulu one, haven't finished that one yet, and then I'm gonna watch the Showtime one.
Okay, I might actually check that out because that sounds super interesting. I've kind of always just like kind of just shat on the dude after the past like.
Oh, I mean, we all have, right? Like we all have for you know, again, obvious and reasonable reasons,
right?
But yeah, the way he was explaining to me, I was like, okay, I was like, let me just check it out and like. See what everybody has to say.
Yeah.
about him.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely probably would check that out. That does sound interesting because I mean, it's like I've seen people post pictures of him when he was younger, and I'm like
before like all the colors.
Yeah, and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like I have face tattoos myself. Like I get it. I get how, quote unquote, but it's like how. You know, because that's like his change is a drastic difference between what I had seen.
And I think that's kind of a part of you know, I know Hulu has kind of explained it, and I think the Showtime one does too. But like they kind of explain like he was actually pretty smart about what he was doing. Like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks a lot to like internet culture in general and trolling. Like, so if you think about it from a perspective of, and maybe like not us personally, but in general, people love watching a dumpster fire, right? As long as it's not happening to them. Look at Hollywood. We love the Hollywood gossip. We love, you know, hearing about, oh, you know, these people are going through whatever relationship issues, or oh, they got a DUI, and we remove them from humanity and we eat it up.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like, gosh, he knew what he was doing. Okay, well, this is going to work. Controversy is going to work. It's going to keep my name in everybody's mouths. So let me do X, Y, Z.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to have to watch these now.
Yeah.
I think you sold us both. Tell your friend thank you.
Yeah, I shall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Devin, what do you got for us?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Apex, a lot.
Yeah,
you know, that new season got me back in it. As you saw on the stream, I just kind of fell back into the swing of things and just, you know, came back into my old ways after not playing that game for a year. So I was even playing this morning.
Back into it.
It's so much fun, Sarah. The arena mode is so much fun. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, you can ask Ernell. The other day, I was just going at it. I was just off.
he was going off, but we streamed it here on our Twitch channel. for probably a good like 2 hours, and then he continued to play for an additional like 4 hours after. And I'm like well in bed, and the next day he lets me know, yeah, dude, bro, I played it till fucking like 1 a.m. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you'll have to join.
I'm gonna have to re-download it.
Yeah, you'll have to join and play with us sometime. I know we're gonna be streaming it every Thursday too, so.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I really
prepared to carry me, but I'm down.
That is a-okay. Devin will carry both of us because I'm trash at this game still. I'm so not good at this game.
Battle Royales. I'm really, for whatever reason, I'm not good at.
It's kind of like search and destroy.
Well, I think I'm not very good at search and destroy either, though. When I play COD, I play a lot of like hardcore TDM. Mm-hmm. If I have a team of friends that I trust, like with coordinating, we'll play domination because I can't trust random people.
For sure.
No, you can't.
But I think something about Battle Royales, whether it's Apex, whether like Fortnite or Warzone, I think like for me, it's just like dealing with larger maps. And then my usual play style is to run and gun, which not always the best move in Battle Royales.
Yeah. Well,
especially without your team with you.
In Apex, you actually kind of get away with it a little bit. You can kind of run in in general vicinity. When was the last time you played Apex?
Ooh. Played it. Man, it might have been like not that long after it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like I was into it for like at least a good few months and then got distracted by whatever else.
Work. Life.
Life, Call of Duty, because that's like my primary game. But then I want to say like a couple months ago, I think I had my PC completely crash. I had to do a complete wipe.
Oh no.
Yeah. That was not fun. Oh yeah. And so when that happened, I just didn't re-download a lot of stuff because I was like, let me actually now like the silver lining of that was like, okay, like at least I can start fresh, right? Because I had all this stuff downloaded. So now it's like, okay, kind of pick and choose. Like, what do I actually play often that I need to have on here? But yeah, maybe I'll have to re-download it.
I recommend it. It's the arena mode's really fun. It's 3v3. It kind of has like a buy system at the beginning of each round. So like, depending on how much resources you have or materials, whatever their currency name is, you have your pistols and SMGs, and then you have like
like Counter-Strike.
Yeah, kind of similar to that. Yeah. And like you or your teammates, you can get downed and you still have that time to get revived like you would in the BR, or you can just get finished or finish whoever you down. But it's first to 3. But if it ends up being 2v2 and then one person gets 3, then you have a chance to get 3 again, and it can kind of just go back and forth.
It's a best 3. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's really fun. They kind of found, I didn't think that they would find a way to make it feel more fast paced. I didn't think they would, and they did it.
It's actually really rewarding to be really aggressive in arena as well. I found a lot of the times when
I have a chance.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I found a lot of the times when we'd sit back and just like try and snipe or play the long range game, we would get rushed, and it would be all over. So it really pays forward to just, get your abilities and just go for it and just hit them head on, because it catches people off guard pretty quickly.
Okay.
So it's really fun.
I was gonna play Village after the stream, but I think I might have to fucking Apex. Working me, baby. I know. You got to get your shot. I know. Damn it. I don't know. Did you continue though? Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about as far as like media and stuff?
I watched another episode of Invincible.
Thank God. God, man. Okay, so how many do you have left? Okay.
I'm on episode 7.
Okay.
So I did that. Me and my girlfriend have been watching Titans still, and we're near the end of season 2 already. I actually ended up really enjoying it this time around, and they're coming out with another season through HBO this time, instead of it just being a web series, in July. So it's actually pretty good. It's definitely angsty, Robin turning into Nightwing is like pretty much what the whole story is, essentially, you know, but accompanied by Starfire and Beast Boy and all the other guys. It even cross correlates with Doom Patrol, which is really cool because Brendan Fraser's in Doom Patrol, and I love Brendan Fraser. Right. But yeah, it's good, and without giving anything away, it's kind of got that Daredevil vibe that, you know, like Netflix, where it's really violent and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm liking it.
Yeah, stuff, dude. Yeah, so I guess my pick for this week, really, so obviously I've been playing Resident Evil Village since last night, but the one I wanted to talk about was actually Resident Evil 7, because I finally beat that earlier this week for the first time, and nobody expressed to me that this game was that good. It was that good. I didn't realize it was gonna have like an entire like dope ass backstory, and like it was like way deeper than just the house and what was going on with that family, and I was fucking mind blown with how much was actually going on like underneath like the surface level of like what that game was, because even the first time that I had like started playing it and just I got done with the dad scene in the car garage and was like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, so now finally playing it, like, what was that?
I said, peace.
Yeah, I'm out. Peace. I will see you later. And then, yeah, it was like three fucking 4 years later, finally pick it up. And I'm just like enthralled with how well they did in this damn story. And I was like, and me being the like very much narrative driven video game guy here, like I was thoroughly impressed with how deep they actually made everything cut, because I was really about halfway through the game just thinking, oh, okay, so I'm just getting chased by this fucking family the entire time, and that's it, and now Mia's gone and Ethan just has to survive and he's got to get out of there. But no, there's like way more backstory than that, and like finding out all this stuff about like Evelyn and shit. I don't know, I was pretty stoked. Sarah, did you beat Biohazard?
I have not.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna give any spoilers and stuff, but I will say it gets deeper. It gets deeper, and I'm impressed.
I have a friend who tried to speed run it. I don't know I don't remember what his time was though. These somewhere around there. Yeah.
These speedrunners are fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Devin, did you beat Biohazard?
I didn't. I got to the tunnels, you know, going down there. But I have a friend who speed ran the game, quote unquote, recently, and I saw his post on Instagram, and he did all of Resident Evil 7 in like 2 hours and 20 minutes, which to me, I was like, okay, you know, got an S rating on it, so it seemed almost impossible. But 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I think my game clock was like 13 hours because of all the times that I died. Fuck that.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. God, no.
I think I find 2 hours still hella impressive. So.
Yeah.
I played 2 hours of Village last night. You're telling me he beat the entire game? The entire thing. Oh, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Biohazard was really good. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm even more excited now to jump into Village and get to experience that. But the other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about today too was me going back and rewatching the Blade trilogy. With Wesley Snipes. I sometimes forget how much fun those movies are until I go back and watch them, dude. I look, all right. What
I love the first one.
It's so good. It's so
that
good.
rave scene.
Yeah, right. Yeah. With Sandstorm by Darude playing in the background. Yeah, dude. I'm so stoked about it. It was I think I started watching it because the first one was like, I think I was like cleaning something on my bookcase or whatever, and I found the first one on DVD, not Blu-ray, DVD, and I was like, oh hey, I kind of miss this. Let's see if this is on anywhere. So I rented it on Amazon, and God damn it, Jeff Bezos. And then I got done with the first one and just went straight into the second like a fiend. I needed more, and then the next day got into the third. These movies are so fucking underrated, dude. They're so underrated. I wish that they got more love. And now that we're looking into getting the new Mahershala Ali one, interested to see if they're gonna commit to a rated R Blade. I don't know.
I mean, they kind of have to. I mean, they announced that Deadpool's MCU now, and
Marvel
they said
can do whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
have to do that.
And they did say that Deadpool was going to remain rated R for the next movie.
I did hear that Disney Plus is going to be like opening a segment of the Disney Plus like app that is committed to the rated R like adult quote unquote
I love that.
Yeah. Which is interesting because then like we are looking at a situation where potentially we could be getting a rated R Blade. I mean, like if Disney ends up buying out the rights for X-Men, we can look into getting Logan on Disney Plus, which is another phenomenal
Didn't they
movie.
get the rights to X-Men though? Because they purchased Fox. Disney purchased Fox like I want to say like a year or two ago, and that's why we're getting Fantastic Four in this next phase.
Was it like officially like all
I think so.
Yeah, they did it to get all their Marvel properties from Fox back.
Oh.
Okay. And that's also why Quicksilver was in WandaVision.
I don't know. Fucking, you're talking some mess, man. I mean, like
same actor and everything, though. Same actor and everything.
But like, I feel
same
like,
character.
You know that's a different thing. Did you watch WandaVision, Sarah? Did you watch WandaVision?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, we're not going to talk about it.
I'm not.
Don't want to spoil that for you.
Listen, I'm trying to catch up on everything. Okay.
I know. It's
sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
It's been like 3 or 4 weeks.
I know. To be fair, Devin's talking his ass. We don't actually know if it's actually Quicksilver or not. It's just, I'm sure you saw the internet discourse at some point or another.
I have definitely.
Yeah. But actually, speaking of you though, let's get into our headlining segment here. Sarah, hi.
Greetings.
Hello. Could you tell our listeners and viewers at home who are you and what are you about?
Well, I am Sarah. My name is Sarah Dope. I am currently the influencer manager and artist relations over at Astro Gaming, specifically towards, for lack of better phrasing, our non-endemic influencers. Which, everybody that I choose to work with, like they have to be gamers, right? Like, because for us, authenticity is key. It's the only way anything is going to work out in the relationship, right? But I do get, I get the musicians, the actors, the athletes, like people who in a normal year aren't focused on gaming or streaming usually, right? Because they're off on tour, they're in the studio, they are playing in the NBA. And so I get all those influencers and we kind of look at it like, how do we work well together to not only like, how do you guys help us, but how can we help you? And I guess without giving too many secrets away, it's been interesting finding different ways of music marketing because I do have a heavy music marketing background. I've worked in and out of music for 22 years now.
Yep.
To gauge myself
in the shit. You're 22. You've been doing it since birth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got your back.
Exactly. But yeah, like finding new ways of basically music marketing because I can product seed all day. That's the easiest thing to do. I just want to be able to do cooler projects than that. So how can we really make that happen? Whether it's a well-produced live stream, whether it's we on the endemic side, like the YouTuber and full-time streamer side, like across the board, we probably manage almost 200 influencers. And so maybe it's a matter of like, okay, well, everybody likes music, whatever the genre is, and maybe depending on who the artist is, we tap into some of our other influencers. Like maybe it's them streaming something together, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video game, or maybe it's a matter of like, hey, like we got you clearance and rights, because DMCA is a very scary thing.
Yeah.
To stream the album on your broadcast and like actually talk about it, and maybe it's a cool giveaway package of doing some customized Astro products, like stuff like that. Like I'm just like, no matter what job I've had, like I just want to do a bunch of cool shit before I die.
That's a way to do it. That is definitely a way to do it. Dude, I know we've told you a couple times already, but like seriously, your history is absolutely impressive. The things you've done, the things you've experienced, like bravo. Dude, you're fucking doing it. You're doing the thing.
Thank you.
You're knocking it out of the damn park. So
a very long road.
Dude, I bet it's worth it though, right? It's totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I want to start us out by asking you, how did you end up in Astro anyways? How did you land working with Astro?
So our SVP, this guy Aaron Dreyer, like we've known each other since 2011 when I worked at Machinima back then. The old school better days of Machinima, right? And
right.
we like I knew somebody else that worked at the company that was essentially trying to do what I'm doing now for the company.
Okay.
And I think at the time he was like, "Oh, you work at Machinima. Like, let's see if we can do something together. Let me like send you guys headsets for your live streams, whatever." And then when he left, he introduced me to Aaron just so I still had a contact there. And then Aaron, over the years, like Aaron is very, in some ways he's similar to me. Like he loves art. He's a huge sneakerhead. Like he's really into like visual arts, whether that's traditional or whether that's like lifestyle and clothing. And I do photography on the side, and he's been a big fan and supporter of my photo work. And so ever since then, like no matter what job I went to, he would always try to he would reach out and be like, "Hey, like, is there anything that we can try to work on together?" Right? Whether it's, if I'm working at a hip hop label, like maybe some of my artists, when they, start streaming, they're going to need headsets, right? Or maybe it's, on the wired version of our headsets, like we have the removable speaker tags that we can put any sort of artwork on. So maybe it's a matter of, skinning the speaker tags with the album art or whatever, and tagging around the album release. So yeah, and then finally, might be almost 3 years now, actually. At the time I was working for a hip hop label based in Minnesota, which is kind of why I moved out here.
For sure.
And I had just left because I kind of hit to the point where like at the time I was really heavily focused on social media, but it got to a point where I'm like, man, I've been doing social media for 10 years and I'm burnt. And
yeah,
I
get it.
And so I was like trying to figure out, I'm like, what do I really want to do? Like, I loved the label, but I just felt like I wanted to do something else. Wasn't sure what. I was like, I'm going to leave and I'm just going to take some freelance gigs in the meantime while I figure out what I want to do next. So it's freelance. At the time I was freelancing for Five Finger Death Punch and Bad Wolves and still doing social, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm just not really into this. And if I'm not really into this anymore, like this isn't going to do well for the bands, right?
Right.
I'm just not going to be able to come up with like creative social posts anymore and like all this stuff. And at the time, Astro had reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, like we actually have some extra budget, like, and like I think Aaron has always wanted to. He's always had the idea of Astro becoming more in like a lifestyle brand and in that space, right?" And he, at the time, I think with as mainstream as gaming has become, it's been a little easier to connect those dots, right? Because all of a sudden we do start getting the mainstream attention of like, oh my God, these huge streamers are actually making more than some of the athletes and doing this. And now we have everybody's attention. Everyone is trying to have a piece of this pie. And so it became a little easier to connect the dots. And I think his mindset was like, okay, I think it's the perfect time to like really start diving into this. And because of my long history, both in music, and then, I had a good few years at Disney working in like music, video games, and movies. and Parks, that he was just like, hey, do you want to come help us out, like on our influencer team?
Nice.
And like come like let's figure out how we can like bring more musicians on board, more actors, more athletes, like whoever. I was like, yeah, sure. I can, especially since I was freelance at the time, I was like, I can definitely use more work. And then things started to really pick up with them. And I made the decision, like, I left Five Finger and Bad Wolves. It's just like, things are getting really ramping up with Astro. And this is more in line of what I want to do because it got me out of social media.
Right.
And
right.
like, and I still have to like advise on social media stuff with our social team, but it got me out of like having to be in charge of that, having to pretend that I cared about being creative with social posts,
Right.
And more of like a artist relations and a manager. And then, for a while I was on contract and things were going well. And then I got hired full time and here I am.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck
yeah.
Dude, that's a long fucking journey. I don't blame you for wanting to get out of the social media thing.
Yeah, and it was especially because so the rap label that I used to work for, it's like you have your internet trolls for anything. And it's funny because like the guys would just be like, oh, Sarah, like try not to let it get to you. I'm like, that's easy for you to say because it's not your job to like have to read. You don't have to read the comments all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's literally my job to do that and to know what is going on and, filter things out if I need be, if it gets like a little too intense. And one artist that we had, he is albino and Muslim. And his music is very, for the most part, like a lot of his musical catalog is very political. So especially in a Trump era, you can only imagine how those comments were.
Oh yeah,
it was very exhausting. So yeah, I think I just hit that point where it's like I'm kind of really overdoing social media.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Devin.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever experienced any like racism online in the gaming space, and has it ever like affected you at all?
I would yes and no. Like gaming online, unless I'm streaming, right? Like I'm faceless. I would say I experience more sexism than racism, right?
Sure.
Because they can't tell what race I am. In gaming in general, absolutely. I mean, in life in general, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even as like PAX East last year, which is like the last major gaming event that we had before everything started getting locked down, right? I remember it was kind of like at the very beginning of like, oh, this COVID-19 and there were some cases in Boston that same weekend. And so everybody was kind of on high alert. There were some companies that kind of pulled out for safety concerns. And even for us, we were like, okay, if there's anybody who is not comfortable with still flying out, like, let us know just so we can figure out like whoever is still comfortable, like we can cover whatever work that you needed to do. And I chose to still go out. And I remember like, and then PAX was actually being really great about the like, like honestly, I kind of hope that they do PAX like this from now on, where it's like, oh, they had people actively wiping down the escalator, every 5 minutes, and there were hand sanitizer stations everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, can we just do PAX like this from now on? Because honestly, like, there's a hygienic problem, like stereotypically at PAX, right? And I remember there were some people that came to our booth and I'm watching them, they're talking about whatever, and they're interacting with coworkers and they're like shaking hands and when they're saying bye to me, one of them holds out their elbow.
Oh,
no.
COVID bump is what he said to me. And like,
oh no.
My jaw just like hit the ground. I was just like, what? Did he really just what? And I was just so shocked. Like it took me a few minutes to like fully process. And then I got like really kind of like pissed about it, where it's just
right.
Like, you had no problem shaking hands with anybody else in my booth.
Fucking
yeah. Yeah. So, yes.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. I fucking hate people so much. I hate these people so damn much. I mean, like, to kind of follow up with that, though, like, there's obviously a lot of, like, toxic issues, like, in the gaming space generally. Obviously, you mentioned earlier that you experience a lot more, like, sexism in a lot of these things. And a lot of the reasons that we have you on today is obviously to celebrate, AAPI month, along with a fellow AAPI person. And so it's nice to have you on here to talk about your experiences.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Like, we're happy to have you anytime. And it's just like having this time of month after the past few months of just terrible fucking things happening. It's one of those situations where it's nice to sit down and just like talk about our experiences about these things, because a lot of our voices kind of get put onto the wayside because of nuance, and so it's nice to talk about that. Even that little thing happening to you, there's some people that aren't going to realize why that affected you that way. Unfortunately, there's going to be some people that are like, wait, I don't get it. She didn't want to bump elbows. Like, no, that's not fucking why. That's
like everything leading up to it. The fact that they were okay with shaking hands with literally everybody else in my booth. And if I'm the only Asian there at the
time, yeah. Now with that said, though, like, we have a situation here where you work in the gaming space, technical formalities here. Now, do you feel that, like, gamers are kind of responsible to, like, take care of the sort of toxicity that we have in gaming right now? Or is it sort of a community ordeal, you think?
I think it's both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because, you see these conversations, especially all over Twitter, right? When something happens and a popular streamer says a racial slur, or their community starts doing it, where it's like, but they get super defensive when they're called out about it, like, oh well, I can't control people. It's like, no, you can't control, like, in general, you can't control people, but you can try to control the vibe of your community in general, right? So for example, like, when I stream, like, and I've always said this, it's like, even if I did decide to start full-time streaming and take it a little more seriously rather than just a hobby, right? Like, I have very specific rules, and I don't care about my numbers. If I have to block 50 people that stop by because they're saying racial slurs or something sexist, and I have to deal with having only 10 people watching, so be it. Then I have 10 people who are chill, who can be respectful and not be racist or sexist or phobic. Right?
I like that.
And build from there. And if it takes me, another 10 years to really build that out, fine. Because I would rather have that than be okay with people being terrible human beings.
Scummy pieces of shit, like, running in your community. Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah. And like, potentially, like, representing me in other streams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. But I also do think, like, it is a community thing too, right? Like, we need to, like, call these people out. And I don't mean in, like, oh, let's, go after all their sponsors or whatever. I mean, depending on the case, right? But like, these people need to learn, like, why it's wrong. Like, we need to have these discussions about, like, why it's wrong and, like, historically, like, how things have been, and, like, this needs to change for the better of everybody.
Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see it, like, far too often just in a Call of Duty lobby, how much toxicity is just rampant through.
Yeah, I do not hang out in game chat in Call of Duty for a reason. I stay in my little Discord party and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially you being not just AAPI, but also being a woman. Like, you have to suffer a fucking lot in any game.
It's a lot. It's a lot of, like, oh, get back in the kitchen, make me a sandwich. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back in the day, there used to be a website. I think it was just like fatuglyerslutty.com, because those were the common things that were thrown primarily to women in Call of Duty. Obviously other games as well, but it was like, oh, you must be either fat, ugly, or slutty. Like that was a stereotype. It was like, if you were, a woman in games, like you couldn't potentially like be attractive. You couldn't just be chill. You couldn't just be yourself, right? Like there was always something that was wrong with you. Or, if you were really good at the game, then it was like, oh, it's not really you. You're letting your boyfriend play. It's like just really stupid, ignorant, annoying shit.
It's so dumb. Yeah. It's so dumb. And then also to that stereotype of that women aren't good at video games, shouldn't be good at video games is fucking absurd. Me and Devin just got wiped by Austin Marie the other night. It was so funny.
On Scream too.
I saw her and I was like, "Oh my god, I love her. She's great." Yeah. But yeah, it's absurd. It's absurd. Like I wish that there was more to be done as far as the not just the race side of things, but the sex side of things too, and like how women in gaming are generally cheated, because like we see it all the time even now. Like people shitting on women doing anything, really. Like hot tub streams and bikini streams, or they're not even playing fucking videos, and I'm like, so fucking what?
Who cares? So don't watch the stream. Right. If you're not into the stream, don't watch it. It's that easy.
What? So fucking what?
Like it's not affecting. It's literally not affecting you.
I know.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that shit irritates me. And like I think about how like some of the thinking that I used to have back in the day was a lot of like internalized misogyny, right? Like, and I think about it now where I'm like I used to say things that I would never think of saying now. Like, things like, oh, I'm not like most girls. Like I'm more like tomboyish. Which, if you think about it, is like it is internalized misogyny. And so now I'm just like, who fucking cares? Because it's not affecting me, it's not affecting you. Like, let people do what they want, regardless of gender. If it's not actually harming anybody, just let them be.
Devin,
you don't like their content? Guess what? You don't have to watch it. That's the beauty of freedom.
Oh, seriously. I know. Devin, you look like you're about to hop in. What do you got?
Oh, no. I literally just itched the side of my face and moved my mic. That's all it was.
Nice. Nice. You want to hit with the question?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was kind of curious about this. Being a part of a headset company, obviously a lot of toxicity, racism, bullying, a lot of it stems from voice chat within games or Discord or anything. Are there any steps that you feel like that need to be taken, internally in a sense, or from any other like companies that should be like a unified thing between voice chat?
Yeah. So from a like a technical product side, like there's no way to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Sure. Right. At least right now, who knows where technology is going to go in the future. But I think as a brand, with
your backdrop,
long future, when we finally get like flying cars and like real hoverboards and not whatever they call hoverboards now.
It's right behind you. It's right behind you.
Oh yes, that's true.
I'm sorry. Continue. I'm so sorry.
I hate you. But I think as a brand, like we, I think I might have told you this whenever I reached out to you for like a quote. It's like, we're trying to be the change that we want to see in the community. And so even from an influencer side, like I have very candid conversations with people. I'm like, listen, our rules are, you would think they were pretty simple, but clearly not, is basically don't be sexist, don't be racist, don't be phobic. Whether that's homophobic, transphobic, just don't be a dick. And there is some room for, I guess, nuance, right? Like we are all going to make mistakes. Like maybe we say something that we didn't realize the history of something, right? So let's talk about it. Like let's have an adult conversation about it, and let's see if there is a learning experience on it, right? Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to grow? And if not, if it's, somebody's like, oh, fuck you, I'm not going to talk about this, otherwise I quit. It's like, okay, then maybe we part ways and we're not the brand for you. And there will be some brands who just don't give a shit. And that's fine. That's their thing, but that's not us. So I think like I would like to see more companies take that into consideration because, you know, if we're going to lump this into being a political thing, which I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about lumping it like, oh, this is politics. It's like, no, this is kind of people's lives, but all right.
That's like, facts.
It's going to affect us like everywhere. And it's going to affect like the people that work for you too. So
do you
I'm so tired.
Go ahead, Devin. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm so tired of people like just, you know, brandish, like putting all these things into the subject of it being political when really it's all just a subject of morality, right?
Yeah.
It's just like humanity. Being respectful and like not bullying people and not putting people down. That's really, that's like, all it is. And it has to be a political thing for people for some reason all the time.
Why does not being an asshole make it political? It's just I've never grasped this concept that they have. They're like, I don't want to talk about politics in my video games. And I'm like, what part of this is politics?
Yeah.
Like, because they're a living, breathing human being in the story. I don't understand what part of this is political.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Apparently, you know, treating people with dignity only stems from one side in people's eyes.
It's all about politics. Apparently.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Now, Sarah, do you think that there's like in the industry, right? As far as the industry, you talked earlier about community and gamers and the industry all together. Do you feel like we're in a good spot now to start continuing to see progress going forward? Do you think we're doing okay? Or is there still a massive amount of work to be done in this space itself?
There's always going to be work that needs to be done, right?
Of course.
You know, like nobody's perfect, not even us, and you know, we as people are always going to need some sort of growth. Obviously some need more growing than others at this point. And then I kind of feel the same way about communities in general. Like I do think that we do need a lot more work. I think it's kind of gotten better over the years. But again, you know, there are also times where like things will pop up and I'm just like, oh, really? Okay. Thanks for, you know, 2 steps forward, like 50 steps back. Here we go. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's tough. It's tough, isn't it? I mean, from our experiences and our perspective, it's like I agree. We are making progress. There is some really, really great stuff that's happening that you see our fellow BIPOC people getting representation, having conversations around us, having conversations about the awesome things that we're getting through representation and the awesome come-ups that all of our friends and stuff are able to get. But it's like, do you ever feel like it's like daunting to like think like there's still so much that we need? Like,
yeah, I am very tired.
Yeah.
But also I just feel like, you know, I don't know, I can't give up. Like I don't think, like realistically, I'm not sure the changes that I want to see might not happen in my lifetime. And I think I've kind of accepted that. But also, again, like I can't stop fighting the fight because then what? Like nothing gets done.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You know, I like adding on to that, at least it's finally being talked about, at least in a space. I mean, look what we're doing right now, you know. 10 years ago that wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it feels like we are finally moving forward, which is good to see, especially from my perspective, because I mean, Ernell's been a good friend of mine for over the decade, and I've seen things happen to him and other friends of mine. And, you know, that's why I chose to do this show with Ernell, because we wanted to focus on people's experiences in this industry. Yeah. So I can agree with you on that last part, but at least it's finally talked about. But it took way too much for that to be the case.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of move into ending things on a little bit of a brighter note here, you have worked in the music industry for a while too, and me and Devin, as musicians, as band dudes here in the Pacific Northwest, we have some other little tiny questions we wanted to ask you. So to start out, who is your favorite artist that you've worked?
Oh, I have a few.
Okay.
One of them that I still actively work with is Trivium.
Oh, nice.
I saw that.
Specifically Matt Hafey. And that's been kind of cool because I've always been a Trivium fan. And, you know, over the years we've had mutual friends, and, you know, my friend Des, actually, like, she would always tease me. She's like, oh my God, she's like, I need you and Trivium to be like best friends, because all of you love all of the same things. Like, you guys really love video games, you really love food. And she's like, I need you guys to be best friends. And then eventually, Matt, actually, like a few years ago, it was like a little bit before I started working for Astro, he started testing out Twitch, and, you know, from his PlayStation. And I like got right in there, and I was like, hey, I can actually, like, I have a lot of advice for you on like how to better your streams if you're serious about this. Like, you need to get off of the console. It's better to do it from a PC. And we became like Twitter buddies, and I started advising him on like how to like properly build a Twitch channel.
Right.
And then, you know, now fast forward to now, like, we're great friends. And then I started working for Astro, and so then I kind of slid in there. I was like, hey, do you have a headset sponsor? Because started working for this company, I would really, you know, love to see if we can make something work out like professionally. And so now we sponsor him, and everything has been great. And it's like, he is probably one of the nicest, most humble musicians that I've ever met. Which, you know, you meet a lot of personalities in music.
I can tell that he is, like, even just like watching like interviews and stuff, because me and Devin, I'm sure, both can attest that we've listened to Trivium for a really fucking long time. That I remember trying to learn how to play guitar for, like, you know, that Pull Harder song way long ago when I was first trying to like pick up guitar. Matt is a legend, but also has always come off as the most humble fucking dude ever. Yeah. He's always just come off as super nice, super
personable, and you know, especially as like a woman in any space, really. Like, you know, I remember another one of the things that Des would tell me. She's like, you're not going to have to worry about your safety with these guys. Like, they're actually genuinely good dudes. And sure enough, they are. Like, don't have to worry about them trying to hit on me or anything like that. Like, they're just chill guys who love video games and music and food.
Hanging out.
Food is
food, yes.
And it's been really cool to see, like, especially in the past year, to see like the rest of the guys really like embrace Twitch as well, and not just Matt. So now it's like got the full band on board, and it's been good. And, you know, their tour just got rescheduled, back on wood. And so it'll be great to so for the past couple of years, like, being friends with them, you know, they hooked me up with photo passes, and that's always great. And so I'm looking forward to like creating stuff. Hopefully.
Well, we got time for just a couple more questions. Devin, if you want to hit her with one last one from you.
Well, this is one of my favorite questions to ask people, like, within the music realm, because, you know, we all have these stories, but like, what is your best tour, you know, / music story that you can think of, like, off the top of your head? Like, not thinking too hard, but something that was just fun.
There are some stories that I can't tell.
That's fair.
Of course.
We all have those too.
Yes.
Don't want to get sued for $55,000 an instance.
Yep.
One of the ones I can talk about, I think there was, because I went through a period in my life where I was touring as a merch girl. Miss touring. Don't ever want to do merch again.
For sure.
But but there were a couple of weeks that I got called in to fill in to do merch for Deer and Grey, the Japanese metal band.
Yes. Yes.
And that was really cool because, like, primarily people that look like me.
Right.
Which I was not used to. Like I'm originally from a small town and we were the only Asian family. And even now it's like we make a very small percentage of the United States. So that was really cool to like just be on and be around like a band and a road crew that were all Asian.
Yeah.
And also interesting because at the time I also didn't realize how big Deer and Gray was in the States already.
I know, when I got to college,
right? I was like, why do they need 2 merch people? Okay, I mean, a gig is a gig. I'll take it. Whatever puts me back on the road. And then I remember the first night, I was like, oh, like selling an insane amount. It's probably the most cash I will have ever touched, like have held in my hands in my life.
From Deer and Gray, really?
For Deer and Gray.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And I remember the method. So this guy Richie was like the primary merch guy, which thank God, because he had to do all the paperwork and the number part of it. I just had to help him sell. But I remember his system was like, okay, so, here's a box on the table. That's where we're going to throw all the large bills that come our way on the table. He had a pile of like 1s, 5s, and 10s. And I was like, you're not worried that someone's just going to come up and like snatch the pile and run? And he goes, no. He's like, wait till after the show and you'll see. He's like, even if somebody did, he's like, they just want merch and they want to give you their money to get the merch. And he's like, and even if somebody did try that, it gets so packed that they wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like I compare it to him, like if you think about like the audience at like boy band shows, how rabid they can get. And they're just shoving each other against like the barricade. Like it's like that at the merch table.
Yeah.
It was insane. But yeah, it's kind of wild to see.
That's fucking rad. That's rad. Yeah. I haven't given Deer and Gray a fair shake, but I know that we have a couple people that are part of our Discord community and stuff that are pretty big fucking fans of that band. And I've known of them for a really long time too, because of my interest in them being a Japanese metal band specifically. Dude, you're accolades. I'm telling you, Sarah, I'm so jealous. You just living the life. Just living the fucking life. I'm so happy for you though. With that said, I actually want to kind of change the last question that we were anticipating for you, because we gotta end the show here in a minute. The last thing I want to ask you here is what is one thing about being AAPI, being an AAPI woman even, that you feel is so severely overlooked that needs to be highlighted?
I mean, honestly, like our existence and contribution, specifically in America, right? I think we've all seen this where, I keep questioning where I'm like, why is it like, stop Asian hate and like everything, even after the Atlanta shooting, like, why is it so quiet?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, it's kind of hurtful, right? Because there are people within my own circles that I've had to call out where, I had made a tweet shortly after the Atlanta shooting where I had said something like, oh, it's interesting watching that, like, now that we are trending topic on Twitter, all of a sudden people are caring. I hope you guys keep the same energy after we're no longer trending. And some of the comments from some of my own friends, they were trying to kind of make a joke out of it in the sense of like, oh, the only trending hashtag I care about is like Sarah Dope is hot. And I'm like, okay, do you guys just not know what just happened? Like, I'm not joking right now. Like, this is not a joke to me. And I had to have that conversation. I'm like, this is kind of the problem, is like, why are we written off? And even now I'm like, okay, cool. People cared about us for like maybe 12 hours after, and then it's off to whatever. I'm like, guys, we can care about like multiple issues at the same time. Why is it like some of the people that I've seen be so loud about literally everything else haven't said anything at all, or have said maybe a couple things about what is happening to Asian communities? And I'm like, why does this happen every time? Like, why is it so difficult to have any sort of empathy for us? Like, is it because we are seen as like, oh, guys are blowing it out of proportion. You're the model minority. We're seen as white adjacent or whatever. Where I'm just like, this is part of the problem.
Yeah, no, 100. Big agree.
And even like, I'll sit there and be like, okay, so you guys love everything that we make, which is a lot of shit in everyday use. So like leisure shit, like something as simple as like your fucking pencil is made in Asia. You know what?
Yeah.
And yet you just don't give a shit about us, about what's happening. Why?
Yeah.
And even saying it like that, I'm like, but that's also fucked up, because me saying that, I'm trying to be like, hey, I'm giving you something. You should at least care about me because I'm giving you something. I shouldn't have to say that way. I shouldn't have to provide you, your favorite show, your favorite video game, or your favorite piece of art or whatever for you to care about me as a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel the same way about like, AAPI Heritage Month. Like, yes, it's a meaningful thing, but again, like it's also kind of screwed up that we have to sit here and be like, hey, it's Asian Heritage Month. At least care about us for this month.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also noticed too, a lot of people forget that when May comes around, that it's Asian American Pacific Island Month. Yep. I feel like our Heritage Month kind of just doesn't catch a lot of love. People remember Cinco de Mayo very clearly.
Oh yeah.
Very clearly. Yeah. And then they see the tweets and stuff and like, oh, it is Asian American Pacific.
Yeah.
It's I got your back on it. It's disappointing to say the least. I mean, like, thankfully, like I'm also like very hopeful too, because this is the most I've seen people who are supportive of it be supportive of it the way that they are.
Right.
And it makes me feel excited for the digital age that we're going into, as well as just like the communities that we surround ourselves with obviously are music and games. And if we're seeing that progress amongst those two communities that we're observing from, first and third person perspective, it makes me hopeful that there's a chance that like maybe we won't be on the back burner for too much longer. Yeah. I don't know where you sit on that as far as like your hope is.
I mean, time will tell. I'm hoping that we continue pushing forward and moving forward, and I'm hoping that it's not just going to be fellow Asians and Pacific Islanders talking about it all the time, right?
Yeah,
because that is the problem I see right now, where it's like we've kind of fallen back into like our own little echo chamber. Like we all know it's messed up. We know that. We don't need to explain all of this to our own people. So yeah. But again, it's one of those things like time will tell.
So we will get there. Sarah, where can people find you?
All over social media. Sarah Dope on Twitter, Sarah Dope on Twitch, Sarah Dope on Instagram. Somebody is squatting my name on TikTok. I do have a TikTok account. I just never use it. So no real point anyway.
Fair.
I use it. I basically use it to like, I have fallen down a rabbit hole of food TikTok.
Oh,
it's real dangerous.
I know.
It is so dangerous. I have so many like recipes saved and now follow a whole lot of TikTok shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, primarily Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram are my go-tos.
Awesome, dude. Do you have anything you want to plug up real quick?
I am doing a stream on Tuesday early afternoon. That will be actually on Matt Hafey of Trivium's channel. It's gonna be me, him, and Will Yip, who's a music producer in the space, also Asian American.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna be talking about Asian American heritage and how we grew up, and how we've kind of tackled the worlds of music and gaming. And because we all do love food, most likely it'll probably mostly be about food.
Yeah.
But I think we will also have a charity to plug during that time too. About something else that I'm working on for the month, and it'll be good.
What time is that stream on Tuesday?
3:30 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So
12:30
Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
Devin, did you have any last thoughts for our homie here?
yeah, I just again, great accolades. Like, it's impressive. Like, I was like, oh man, I get to meet her. You know, like,
we've been bowing to you for the past week, just like, oh my god, she's amazing. You've killed it. You've absolutely killed
you
it.
know, it's been great, and hopefully we can all join up again and do this or play some games together. I play Call of Duty. I don't know about Ernell that much, but yeah.
But do you play hardcore TDM?
Yes, I do actually. I'm a TDM guy when it comes to Call of Duty.
Okay, we are going to have to exchange Activision IDs then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I play on Xbox primarily for it, but you know, crossplay, so it's still good.
PlayStation, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
PlayStation and now. PlayStation 5 now. And then Discord for chat because game chat is trash.
Oh, it's straight up.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to use the game chat. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll get your permissions and stuff figured out on that after we're done here. But Sarah, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you taking the time out of your second vaccination process of healing to come in here, and I'm glad you still took a shot. You could have been like, nah, dog, like my fever is too high, whatever. You're I think
if it would have been over 100, I probably would have been hit you up and be like, totally we may have to like reschedule this, but 99. I feel like
that totally would be fine too. It's not me and Devin only do this show because we talk about video games anyways. We're like, fuck it, let's just do it on air. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Why? You give me hope for me getting my shot, so hopefully I don't get sick.
Hey, we'll see. You're gonna grow a third arm. Is gonna be great, and then you'll be even better at video games. Play with another.
Get some paddles. Have the third arm go underneath the controller.
This has been the Good Kraken Podcast, a show for nerdy, marginalized people, giving you the video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you wanted to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 1 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/GoodKrakenShow. If you enjoyed the show, you can support us by subscribing below, going to our YouTube channel by clicking the link in the About section of our Twitch channel and clicking that bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation mark and leaving a review there. But until next time, stop AAPI hate. For fuck's sake, stop it. Stop it.
Yes.
And don't be a fucking asshole. Don't stop being an asshole.
Don't be a douche.
Just don't be a douche.
Morality, friends, not political.
I meant to get right there.